Men make moves and suckers stand still.
Say the first thing a man should do is do the knowledge.
Demonstrations about police brutality and gun violence, and I've had mothers with tears in their eyes thank me, and hug me because they said, "Man, I'm so happy that even though nobody was there to demonstrate and make a fuss about my son, I know that somebody somewhere cares. I know that somebody is still fighting to make a difference. So that's why I do this." I do this for the ones who can't take a stand. I do this for the ones who less fortunate. I do this for the people who don't have a champion, who don't have one to fight for them and stand for them and make a difference for them. How can you have knowledge and how can you have the information and the truth about what's going on in the world around you, but not want to use that truth and use your power and your abilities to make a change and make a difference in it? Don't sit around and sit on the sidelines with the knowledge of how to change the world or the creativity and the power to change the world and not do nothing. Stand up and make a change. Stand up and make a difference. Again, I'm a man who gonna stand for something. Because if you don't, you'll fall for anything. That's why I do it. That's why I'm here. Why are you?
And you are now tuned into another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio. And today I have one of Detroit's finest. Bruh, if you have an event, if you have a company, if you need somebody to really come in and talk to the people, Minister Freedom is who you need. What's good, bro? How you doing?
Peace, bro, man. Thank you for the cold intro, man. I love it, man.
Really,
Appreciate
man? I'm trying to work on my intro skills and shit. Trying to step it up a little bit.
it. Thank you, bro.
How you doing, man? How's your
Man,
family?
I'm great, man. We all good, man. Everybody is well. Everybody's in good health. I can't complain, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Life is good for you, healthy.
Yeah. I'm healthy, man. Everything is good. Working every day. My sons is healthy. No problems, man. And we still on the job, man. We still out here. I'm still out here working in the community and doing everything I can to change the world one mind at a time. So definitely still on post.
That's what's up, man. The people's action.
Word.
That's what's up, my guy, niggas Vu.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how's that going for y'all, man? What's
Man,
new?
they doing the work, man. I mean, we it's like the People's Action, man, is one of those organizations, and VU, shout out to VU, man. VU is one of those individuals that, and all of the members of the People's Actions are people and community members that ain't that's not giving up, that's not slowing down. People that really love their community and love Detroit and that want to make a difference, man. So it's going well. We really in the season of our Adopt a Block program, in which the People's Action, we go community to community and adopt the community, man. We clean up the trash, give out food, talk to people in the community, help them with resources. It's a really great program, man. It's one of those things that, in my opinion, is the pillars for making a difference and making an impact in the community, man. So it's a great work, man. And the people at TPA, they really getting it in, man. Sisters like Jackie and Vu, man, they giving it up, man. They giving a lot of work, and it's always been a pleasure and an honor to work with them. So the work is going good. It's definitely going good, man. The last Adopted Block, I wasn't able to make it myself, but I was told it was a very huge turnout. I seen it was a huge turnout. The work continues, man. And we ain't letting up no time soon.
Yo, and I don't know if it's me, but it's like just a really slight sound. It's like something is like your mic cord is rubbing up against the mic or something like that.
It might be. I think it's these headphones. Let me sit back a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I think that was
What
it.
is that?
All right, yeah, that's perfect right there. Let me ask you this, man. Let's talk about black folks.
Word.
Um, and what's really on my mind, man? Are you familiar with Grandmaster Jay?
Yes.
I've had the honor of interviewing him several times.
Word.
Leading up to the trial, he would randomly text me shit to post. Um, what are your thoughts? Did black people drop the ball with him?
Um, I mean, honestly, man, I think that his intentions are pure, and I think that they're right and exact. I don't think that black people dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that as a people, that the youth aren't necessarily there. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? To where that the movement wasn't able to gain the steam that it needed. And I mean, I think that there was a lot of brother. He had a lot of support.
Yeah.
And I liked the brother. I liked the brother's energy. I liked his veracity. I liked his willingness to go out and stand in those places other people didn't was scared to stand at. You know, to go out there armed and go out there as as a show of force.
Hmm.
Um, I just think that as a people, even him, I think we should push more in the directions of the youth, because when you put your focus in the youth and when you put your
Hmm.
focus in building up on the youth, they'll be around when you're not. Um,
I think personally, as far as like I love what he did. Um, like when I had him on, it was people that I hadn't talked to in I don't know how long reaching out to me. That's my guy.
right,
They wouldn't do it publicly, but
right,
that's my guy. I donated to him, Blase Splee.
mhm.
But the only thing I think that when he was going through, because they dragged this trial out for like
Yeah,
a
they
year
have,
or two,
they have,
and that was intentional. They tried to make him run out of money. Um, but I don't think we made enough fuss over the trial in
right,
that for people that want to follow in his footsteps to show them that as a community we riding with you. And he
yeah,
was a polarizing cat though.
yeah. He is a polarized. Well, I think what we have to remember, I think that the people that worked against us,
Hmm.
they have learned these lessons over the years.
Mm,
They have learned what to publicize and what not to publicize.
facts.
They have learned what to romanticize, what to allow to become larger than life, and what not to become larger than life. And I think that's part of the problem. If anything, should rest on what we would consider as the black media outlets,
Hmm.
because we can't allow them to be the ones responsible for telling us what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
The same reason why they're not talking about the guy who killed everybody at the Buffalo, New York, all those black people in the hospital, because they control the media and because they control the narrative. Of course, they're not going to talk about it, just like they're
Yeah.
not talking about him.
Yeah.
So I think the responsibility ultimately should lie on us as so these black media outlets to
Man.
disseminate that information. And in my opinion, really, the black media outlet has become the content creator. And the content creator is essentially the one who's giving the information of the world to people. Now they kind of then got them in the trick bag because they paying them. They
Yeah.
monetize these
Yeah.
influencers and these creators. So even they're kind of losing control of their own message. So it's a real trick bag, man. I mean,
Like if you notice, like there's some very prominent podcasters who made no mention at all of Buffalo
nothing.
and no pushback. The community didn't question that, and that's disturbing. Like as a black person, how can you see elders slaughtered and then not bother you to the point where you at least make a statement on it?
Well, I think a big part of it, man. Social media has been a gift and a curse to us as a people.
Mm,
It's been a gift because it has allowed us to connect with one another's talents and information in no limit of time.
hmm.
But however, it's been a curse because it has made our attention span very fast and low,
Hmm,
to
hmm.
where the youth have a really almost like a 60-second window of attention.
Facts.
So whatever is constantly being fed and bombarded in that window is what's going to stay on the brain. That's why they talked about the Will Smith thing so long.
Oh my God, did they ever? Yeah, they talked about that, and I still see people talking about that.
Yeah,
Not that it's not newsworthy. I'm not gonna lie. I talked about this shit too,
right, right.
but we can walk and chew gum at the same time,
Yeah.
and they don't want to give us credit for that.
I just think that as creators and as
Hmm.
influencers, that if we were to blast that message repetitively in that same fashion, then it will stick.
Okay, let me ask you this: as somebody in the community, as somebody that's been fighting for Black people for years, that's been doing their thing, um, how can you respectfully make a living at it without being viewed as I'm making a living at it? Because you got a family to feed.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the name of the game is, in a sense, being kind of playing that lane of I don't want to say becoming real organized,
Mhm.
but what I've come to learn and as an organizer is that there's so many resources and so many companies, so many organizations who are willing to give you money to do your work. Like regardless of whatever your community lane is,
Mhm.
there's no reason if you're doing something positive that affects people on the ground and that affects communities that you shouldn't have a grant for that. Like somebody's funding the work that you want to do. So I think that in order for us to stay to keep afloat, to be able to feed our families and to fund the work that we do in the street, because people think a lot of times the work in the street is free. Like even with the adopt a block, somebody got to pay for the garbage bags to pick up
Yeah.
the trash. Somebody got to pay for the food that we give away, the
Yeah.
hot dog buns, the ketchup, the chicken. Somebody got to pay for the lawnmowers that we use to cut the grass, for the weed whackers that we use to trim the hedges. So all of these things has to be funded.
And
You
gas
know,
ain't cheap no more.
gas ain't cheap. So, but however, to my point, there's so many resources, whether at the state level, the private sector of companies and organizations, or even city governments, who literally have funds set aside for the work.
Mhm.
So I think it's just a matter of making that connection.
And I want to see niggas win, bruh.
Word, word.
Like I don't
Mhm.
want to see like the problem I got with with Malcolm X and Dr. King and all of our greats that we people will rattle off their names in a minute. I read so and so's book, they died broke.
Yeah, well, I mean, and my thing to that is it's a trade-off. It's it's understanding what's the true value, right? Because
Mhm.
in a sense, I understand it. I see it because yeah, Malcolm may have died broke, but his name is everlasting, if that makes sense.
It
You
does, but his kids
know?
can't eat off of everlasting.
Fair, fair. They can't eat off of everlasting. However, they do benefit from the greatness of his name.
Okay, I
They
got you.
do. And we know that. You know what I'm saying? Like if Malcolm X's daughter walked in here right now, I'm gonna be quiet simply
Facts.
because of who you are.
Facts.
You know
And
what I mean?
she's added to the legacy.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I feel you on that one. But like we got to do. I think we have to do a better job of not only allowing our great ones to be great and to make a buck to feed their family. They don't need to be like Bill Gates rich, but it's something to be said to the next generation that if you looking out for your people will look out for you.
Word.
You know, and you see communities like I've never seen a broke rabbi.
Mm-mm.
you
No.
know like it, you go through like the top Buddhist guy ain't got to pay for the food, or whatever you want to go through, the top ethnicity guy or whatever, they taking care of their own. We got to learn to do better with that. On that note, man, where is Black America? Where are we right now?
I mean, man, we honestly in a tough space as a people, as a race, and as a culture. I think in one aspect, financially, I think that Black people or the so-called African American community is heading back to getting where we once were in the 20s and the 30s.
Really?
Like, yes, in my
Okay.
opinion, I think that we're experiencing this new wave. You have this wealthy and becoming wealthier young Black middle class that's growing right now.
Hmm.
Black people in between the ages of 25 and 40. We got more Black millionaires in that age bracket than ever before,
Mm.
which is what we had in the 20s.
Okay.
Meaning that you had these young Black people, these young Black men in their early 30s or early 40s, just coming out of the Civil War, got jobs, got skills, got trades, and making all this and making money.
Hmm.
So you're seeing more of these young Black people break off into these spaces where they're able to really get to a bag. So what I think is going to happen is ultimately this generation from your generation, your millennials and your X and your Y and your Z are ultimately gonna kind of usher in this new, in my opinion, era of where the Black community is gonna go, which is, in my opinion, headed
Mm.
towards a better space. If and only if that black middle class can make this same connection to the young, to that 18
Hmm.
and under, because I think the baby boomers and the generation that's older than ours is all it's kind of at the point where they in the middle of being completely disconnected and barely hanging on. Um,
Man, and we did a horrible job of like we spent a lot of time trying to hang on to the power that we have, as
mhm,
opposed to willingly passing the torch.
indeed.
You know,
Hmm.
I will say with this younger generation, I'm concerned, especially with Detroit being like a major city, majority black folks. It seems like the young folks in Detroit is in a rush to include everybody, and they giving up so much of the city.
Word.
Is that a problem or is that a good thing?
I mean, I think it's just a double edged sword. I think the good thing is that they giving it up,
Hmm.
but in return, the city looks better than how it's ever been in 40 years.
Shit,
I mean, I remember a time where you couldn't walk downtown at 12 o'clock at night.
downtown looks better.
Downtown
Go,
does look better, but
go to
I mean,
7 Mile in Southfield.
fair. I agree with that. And I think that in a sense, you're gonna see it gradually get better because we're
Hmm.
seeing more and more people buy this up and renew it. No matter who it is, whether it's people outside the community or in the community, I think it just ultimately falls on us. And then the other edge of the sword is how much of a choice do a lot of us really have, right? Like you talk about one of the worst school systems in the country.
Man.
You're talking about one of the poorest income communities in the country. You talking about a school system that's been privatized. You talking about a police system that's been privatized. Your water being privatized. So with so much against us,
Hmm.
I think it only behoove us to make a point to either bring in other people from other communities, work together. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying, and then get where we want to get, or
Hmm.
help us get to where we want to get, or just be out the loop altogether.
I hope, and like my youngest daughter just bought a house
Word.
in Detroit. And to her credit, man, like she's teaching me shit. I've never purchased a house. Now I'm thinking about buying a house.
Mm,
And she teaching me shit. Like she did the research, she did her own thing. We taught her about credit scores and shit like that. But as far as the actual process, she knows 100% more than I do.
word.
And in that aspect, like I'm so proud, and I'm so proud that she made that investment in the city she grew up in.
Yeah.
It also scares me. She got
Mm,
babies.
yeah.
It's like I love my city, but I'm scared for my grandkids to grow up in my city. That's a
Uh,
horrible fucking feeling.
it is.
You know, what can I do? Or is I just gotta hope for the best at this point because I'm
Oh,
old.
I mean, what I would say is my thing, and was what I tell people all the time. I think it's up to our elders, to the older people, to the generation that came before us, those brothers and sisters that's just touching their 50s, heading into their 60s. I think it's time for y'all to take the same post that the adults took in y'all time, which is go back out on your porch, go back out on the street corner, and make it your point to develop a relationship with these young people,
Hmm.
because they it's not that they destroying and doing all of these things out of hate and out of spite. It's out of necessity, it's out of struggle, it's out of pain. So I think that if we able to build that connection and actually be those individuals for those people, it can be one less or two less individuals going in the wrong direction, if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. I saw a post by was it Soldier Boy?
Word.
And he was talking about his OGs, or the OGs in general, didn't do enough to pass the torch.
Hmm.
And I agree 1,000%. I've been screaming for that a long time. My generation has no accountability. We were put in the best position, in my opinion, of any generation of black folks in this country, and we fumbled the bag. And we created another generation that we don't like,
Word.
and we don't want to take responsibility for creating that generation.
Right. Right.
And you would be surprised how many, because this was a post on a big hip hop
Yeah.
network, and how many rappers came out the woodworks. Oh, they don't want to listen. They this, they that. Well, then you quit. Because I've talked to a million brothers, and not every brother listened to me. Some brothers like shut up, old head. Well, they didn't say shut up, but you get what I'm saying. You just the
Mhm.
old head. You out of touch, blase splee. But like you said, it's that one or two brothers that'll sit down and listen.
Yeah.
And when you
Nobody.
teach those one or two brothers, you teaching not only them, but you teaching their kids too.
Yep. And they families, and they sisters, and they mamas, all of that. I think
Yes,
it's not enough brothers planting seeds. It's like
facts.
trying. What we have to remember is, man, that all of us are combating 400 plus years of indoctrination,
Hmm.
cultural breakdown, misinformation, and so on. And we can go on and on of all these things that we systematically face with. And this is generations later that we still suffer from and that we still deal with the mental the dealing with the mental institutions that's been planted and put into us. So to combat that, to overcome that, it's not gonna be, a snap your finger and a one conversation thing. We have to be farmers. We got to be like Jesus. Well, we got to be farmers and fishers of men. We had to be willing to plant seeds, to have that conversation, and then when we see them the next day, to have it again, and then when we see them next week, to have it again, to have that same conversation
Hmm.
until one or two of them it clicks.
So you got what? 7 kids?
Yeah, yep. 6 boys, 1 girl.
Let's talk about fatherhood. Like what?
Word. Yeah.
How did the first baby? How did fatherhood change you?
Oh man. It brought me to a moment where I understood that life was not just about me. For the first time in my life, I held something that I knew that I was going to give everything in my power and all that I have to make sure that they was taken care of.
Hmm.
And this was an extension of myself. This was an individual that I was responsible for bringing into existence.
That's some wild shit, ain't it?
Word. Yeah.
Man,
And it brought me to the mindset of responsibility. Like I've delivered some of my sons.
really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my god, that's so gross, bro.
Yeah. I've done one of them completely unassisted, just me and my queen
Oh, I could.
in the
I'm a
house.
whole nurse, and I could not do that.
Me and her by ourselves in the house, children upstairs sleep. It's just a level of responsibility. I was the first hands to touch him.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
Intentionally or just happened that
Oh,
way?
and intentionally. Yeah, you don't do shit. You don't just do shit like that just to do it. Man, man, we was reading books and you know what I'm saying, all kind of stuff, dude. But yeah, man. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's the ultimate responsibility. It's the ultimate um what I'm trying to think of a bit of a way to put it, man. It's just like it's true love to me. It's true understanding. You know what I mean? It's being able to see that what I've created and what I've made and what I've helped bring forth, I am now responsible for what happens with this life. And I want a better life for them than I wanted
Oh
than I was able to
god,
make for myself.
man, that's the one thing. I'm a girl dad. I got three
Word,
girls, and I have been blessed to live long enough to see them have children.
word.
And my thing was always be a better parent than me. Not
Mm.
that I felt like I wasn't shit. Yeah, is it room for improvement? Of course. Um, but be better than me. Be a better person than me. Make your kids better than you. That's your job. But no way in hell could I deliver one. Oh hell no, man! I've only been to see one of my daughters born,
Mm.
and yo, I was
Yeah.
not prepared for that shit at all, man.
It definitely takes a mental preparation, bro. Like all together, I've had 3 home births. The first one was with a midwife. The second one was like me and the midwife did it, and
Mhm.
the last one it was just me and her.
Do they still give you a hospital bill for that?
Hell no. For what? I ain't go
I
to
mean,
the
at some point you got to go to. So you just don't go to the hospital at all?
you don't have to.
Oh, really? How you get the birth certificate? You just call
I
them up like, "Yo, we had a kid yesterday."
you got to go through a little more steps. I will say
Okay.
that. You got to do a little bit more paperwork. um, but it get you done. Like my son Infinite. It was maybe I think he was almost 2 by the time I got his birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? Well, what people a lot of people don't know, bro. The birth certificate is a business contract.
Okay.
There's no law saying you have to have one.
Really?
No, you don't. It's a contract. It's a document that the state verifies that this birth happened. So in a sense, if you want to do business with the state, this something they have to certify that you're a citizen.
I did
But
not know that.
do I have to do this? No. But don't think that you're going to participate in this system or
Without
in the
one.
functions of a citizen as a citizen without one.
Okay.
Ain't no
But
going
two
to school.
years.
Yeah, yeah. My son Wise was almost 4 by the time I got his. I just got Wise is like 6 months ago.
He has some powerful fucking names, bruh.
Oh yeah, we try.
Like infinite and what? Like
Oh yeah,
infinite.
oh yeah, man.
That's that is power in a name right there.
Word. Well,
Like,
I was always taught, man, and they say that in the Bible that a name is better than gold. So
mm,
with that, it's like I wanted to give them something that if I wasn't here, they'd still be able to know who they are and the purpose that I seen in them. Cause I didn't all of those names, my names were all my sons except my oldest son. We
mm,
didn't, we didn't, we waited until after they were born to pick those names. So we'd watch them for a week and then decide on a name based off of characteristics and attributes we see in them. So
really?
that's my thing. That this is what I see in you. I named my son Wise. His name is Wise Life. Because he was a wise little smart little baby. And I said, man, this little boy gonna have a wise life.
Really?
Yeah. My son, Infinite Power. Man, you can't tell him nothing, dude. Little dudes he's fearless.
So
Fearless.
so do you sit down and explain to them their names or you just let
Well,
them kind of figure it out on their own?
they're still my oldest son is 8.
Hmm.
So I'm just it's the same like we was just talking about. I just plant seeds.
Okay.
When I talk to Wise, you know your name mean? He's all Wise mean. I say it's very smart. You're gonna have a smart life. You're gonna be an intelligent young man. He 4 years old, about to be 5. He can't process the full meaning and the
Yeah.
full scope of what it means to be wise life. But if I plant little seeds along the way, by the time he do get to that age where he began to take understanding, oh, okay, I see why my daddy always used to say, son, you're gonna be very intelligent. I'm just planting a seed. And then when the time come, I open the whole library. Oh, hey, so you want it all? Come on home. So yeah,
That's dope, bruh.
yeah,
Like I got a chance to name my middle daughter. And it was just for whatever reason it just popped in my head for years before she was born. But I knew if I had a baby girl, this is what I was gonna name her. And I
word.
got the opportunity to do that. Um she hated it for years. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Difficult for people couldn't pronounce it,
Word.
but now like I think she appreciates it.
Mm,
It fits who she is.
word.
However, if I had waited like that, it would have been different.
As well as, man, I'm a member of what we call the 5%ers. Some people call it the Nation of Gods and Nursing.
Hmm.
I wanted it to be known. Like in my opinion, what they names, I was taught signs and symbols are for the conscious mind.
Mm.
So those that's in the know or that's conscious or know when they hear it, they'll know exactly who they are, even if they don't know.
So who taught you?
Man, I got introduced to this knowledge, man, actually through a book when I was in college. A
No,
book
no,
by
no, no. Let's go back further than that.
yeah, go ahead.
Like
Like,
who was that guy? And was it pops? Was it a friend? Was it a older cousin? Like who really just sat you down and gave you your first jewels?
oh man, that's heavy, man. That you actually that's something, man. So this brother, I call him Unc, man.
Hmm.
Some people call him OG. His name is Orlando Anderson. he was a man that was with my mother since I was 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he raised me, man. He raised
Okay.
me up until I maybe was 16, 17 when I went to go live with my pops. But he definitely gave me the first jewels. He planted the first seeds in my mind, man.
Mm-hmm.
He going through a lot with his health right now, man. But all praises due to him, man. He definitely, he gave me things like, he was a man he got cerebral palsy.
Oh
He
wow.
told him he would never walk. But when I met him as in my youth, he walked everywhere, just had a cane. And he would
Mm-hmm.
always say perseverance is a bad motherfucker.
Hmm.
And he would say, boy, they told me I'd never be able to walk. It ain't nothing you can't do. If I can do it, I know you can. You see shit, don't step in it, go around it. He used to say little stuff like that.
Mm.
That's as far as back I can remember, man. Be a leader, not a follower. That's what he tell me. Be a leader, not a follower. And then as an adult, he'd say, man, I used to always tell you, be a leader, not a follower. I just ain't think you was gonna do all of this. But yeah, he planted the first jewels for me, man.
So what does it feel like to see the look in his eyes at what you've become?
Oh man, it's invigorating. It's very it's a confirmation. You know what I mean? A lot of times, even me, I'll get off the path sometimes, and reminders like that to help me stay focused. You know what I'm saying? He wanted my biggest supporters, man. So the look in his eye, man, it's always invigorating. It's very impactful and powerful, man. Yeah.
That's some real shit, man. And shout out to him, and I hope everything works out for him too, man.
All right. Yeah, me too, man.
Man. It's interesting. Like my pops died a couple of years ago. Actually, both my parents did. But my stepfather has been just one of those people that I don't think he's ever sat down and gave me a jewel,
Mm.
but he never had to. His life was the jewel.
Oh.
The way he treated my mother, the way he interact. And there's been times like I'm gonna keep it a buck. There's been a couple of times over the years, and they've been together like most of my life, where I had to tell him, "Look, bro, mom's just tripping. You gotta do something." As an adult, man to
Mm.
man. Um, and he didn't trip. He didn't say, "Hey, you right, you wrong, or whatever." He's not a real, he's not the most talkative guy on the planet. And then I talked to my mother years after that, and we didn't talk about that particular conversation, but she was explaining to me how he gets down and why he didn't feel the need to be the most conversational motherfucker on the planet. But now the way I move is a lot like him.
Mm.
The way I act, like I don't have to be, like when I was younger, it was a lot of rah rah, blah 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 blah. Now it's like, you know what? First off, I'm not punching down. It really got to be. I have to respect you to look at you as a challenge, and I got that from him. The way I treat my old lady, I got that from him.
Mm.
So I haven't even talked to nobody about this, and if ever, to be quite honest, I'm not sure what made me think about it. But shout out to my stepfather for just being a dope ass motherfucking representation of what a black man should be and not have to tell me about the shit every day. No disrespect to people that's saying it every day, but there's always two different types of people.
Mm.
And it sounds like your pops, and I must just say your pops, your stepfather,
Yeah.
he said just enough because you needed just enough.
Word.
And it's like the good ones know what you need and give that to you without a problem.
Word. And you know what's something, because I emulate him in a lot of ways.
Mm,
Only people that know or who've been around would know the ways that I
mm,
emulate him. But like Unc was always one of those guys. He's never loud, always laid back. You know what I learned from him, he couldn't use his because his body wasn't
mm,
necessarily his strength. He spent a lot of time honing his mind.
mm,
And I'm not even talking about just reading books, but he understood people very well. And you know, his house was always a party. Like when I was coming up, like every day it was 5 or 10 people over there. Every
mhm,
day. Every
mhm,
day, everybody was drunk. it was just going down. My mother hated it. That's why they didn't want us. It was never no peacetime. But what I realized as an adult, like, man, people love this dude.
Mhm.
People love him. People gravitate around him. Now don't get me wrong. It ain't necessarily always been the best crowd of people.
Right.
However, when people gravitate to you and but people love you, that means they respect you. And in a way, you leading them. And
Mhm.
he always was an individual like that. That people just gravitated towards him. And even in his family, he's like one of the centers, one of the backbones.
Mhm.
And so, I always strive to emulate that, being somebody that's likable, that's impressionable, that can bring people together. However, I also took from my mother's perspective, like, yo, let me make it to where, all right, y'all gotta go now. Y'all not about to be at my house every day. I got a family.
Yeah.
Let me cut it off. Let me shut it off. So yeah, man, just to your point, I agree with you on that.
Let me ask you this: when was the first time, like, if anybody has ever heard you speak, it's an experience.
Word. I appreciate
Um,
that.
and I mean that in the highest way. When was the first time you spoke in front of people and realized I'm different?
um, I mean, it's kind of a compound question because the 5 percenters in our culture,
Mhm.
it's like there's mechanisms that in a sense kind of honed it.
Mhm.
And then there was an instance where it came out and I used it and I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. It can be this. I didn't know that it was like that. I knew that it had power. Like we have what's called our universal parliaments,
Mhm.
our universal rallies. And that's when all the people, the gods and earths, the people in our culture, we all get together every third Sunday of the month.
Mhm.
An individual got to get in the middle and stand up and talk and build,
Mhm.
go through their lessons and whatever they were studying. They had to get up there, break it down, and everybody that was listening would critique or ask questions, right?
Really?
So, in a sense, that honed the ability to be able to manifest my thoughts and to be able to put all my thoughts in order and then go out and give it up. Because the understanding behind that and amongst us is
Mhm.
we doing this so that you comfortable to go out in the streets and teach. So
Mhm.
really that first moment where I knew I'm about to get off into the speaking thing. Like I think I could do this
Mhm.
because I just seen the level of reaction and I was like, okay, right. This I might can do something here. I was at a meeting when I first came amongst New Era Detroit.
Mhm.
I was at they had used to have these open meetings, and this back when they was at 90s, and 90s was
Okay.
and 90s was on Woodward
Mhm.
before where it was at now. And she would have them in like this last little building far all the way to the right. There used to be like a lounge type of joint. I know it's probably been a minute if you've ever been in there.
Mhm.
And the way the meetings would be, Zeke and Vu and Skrill and all of them, they would talk. They would be on the stage, kind of going through what New Era's program was, and then they would open the floor up at the end of the meetings for anybody
Mhm.
who wanted to speak or add on. So I waited till everybody else talked and raised my hand and set the room on fire. And like, you know what I'm saying? And then I came back the next week to the next meeting, did the same thing. After that, they was like, yo, bro, we need to talk to you, man. What's up? You done what you think about coming over here and like keep doing that, man? Because people, the people was like, yo, they was in on what you was going hard.
Mhm.
And they kind of just gave me a space to to blossom it, to open it up. And then, that helped open the door into other things. And then I started doing more speaking stuff and just open it up. But that was really one of the first times, like publicly, like on a
Mhm.
real public stage almost, that I had realized, yo, I could really add this talent or this skill, this passion on to a bigger stage outside of just teaching the youth. Because I mean, even before them, I had been in the community with the guys and nurse for years, for at least 4 or 5 years. Like, I got plenty of
Where did you
students.
find them in Detroit?
Um, what it was the brother that originally the guys and nurse been active in Detroit since the early 90s. There's been several
Really?
schools in Detroit. Yep. The first school in Detroit, the first street academy in Detroit was on Jefferson, and that was in 94. And then the school after that was on Lasher and Grand River. So the guy's been active in Detroit for years.
I did
But
not know that.
the brother who introduced me to the culture in Atlanta, when I moved back home after leaving school, he connected me with the brothers and sisters that was here.
Okay.
And once I got amongst them, it was like, man, y'all got to get rid of me. Either I'm gonna be here or y'all just gonna tell me to get the fuck out. And they ain't never told me. We know it's been a my man. Them my we just it just was like uh love perfect. It was just love at first sight. Oh, this is exactly where I need to be. Oh yeah,
So, New Era Detroit.
word.
Biggest thing in my book to happen to the community since the Panthers. In 10 generations, what do you think the history books are going to say about New Era?
I think that
And
if
and before you answer that, I'm sorry, but you, Keith Horton, Negas, and just a who's who of brothers and sisters in Detroit. Like, yeah, it
Mhm,
basically was like the transformers of blackness. If people
word,
don't know, like the power that was in New Era in the beginning, off the fucking charts. And I'm sorry, but people
yeah,
need to know that.
yeah, hell yeah, bro. I mean, no, I agree with that. I mean, I think that what Zeke is doing is
Hmm.
good work. You know what I'm saying? And I think if they stay on it, which I doubt that he's not going to that he's I doubt that he's going to stop,
Hmm.
knowing what type of person that he is.
Hmm.
I think that they will be a pillar of community work and of community leadership in the black community. Honestly, you know what I mean? Right there in their own place, in their own right, with
Hmm.
other organizations that's doing just like the People's Action. I don't see the People's Action going anywhere. You know, even though Vu's philosophy is a little bit different, you know what I mean? Vu not is on Front Street. You know what
He's
I'm saying?
not.
However, that doesn't mean he's not getting as much work done because, and I agree with him, his mentality is a little more quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And whereas, Zeke like a floodlight, I look at Vu like a laser. You know what I'm saying? So
Zeke is more of a Detroit nigga.
yeah, he is. That's why I said a
And that's
floodlight.
no disrespect to
It's
Vu,
no
because
disrespect. Nah,
that's my
they just
guy.
they just two different people. They
Yes.
just two different people, bro. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? And that's why I described it that way. Like a floodlight is bright. Everybody gonna see it.
Yeah.
It's gonna light the whole area. It's gonna
Facts.
give light to who is in the darkness, no question. And I think that work is necessary. And just as much as I think the work is necessary for an individual like Vu, who like I said, like a laser. He looking to focus in on one specific area, one lane, hone it, precise it, and get it done. You know what I mean? So I think that this entire wave of organizing black organization, especially in the city, man, got a real long lasting, gonna have a real long lasting effect.
I
Um,
got a chance to do one of the clean up the hoods with New Era
mm,
years ago.
word,
And that might have been like the first real conversations I had with Vu.
mm.
And man, like I don't like cleaning up my own motherfucking crib. I'm gonna I'm gonna keep it a
Keep
buck.
it 1,000.
But I'll never forget that.
Word.
Like that was like it was, and I've never been the most. I've never been a join a group type of individual. I've never been I've always been more on the selfish side. I'm gonna keep it a stack. But man, like it was something. It changed me just a little bit.
Mm.
Like what do you get out of acts of kindness that get nothing in return?
I get,
Well, let me say that get nothing monetarily in return.
yeah, I get the feeling and the understanding that all hope is not lost. I get the feeling of exhilaration when I meet people who say that, man, I didn't think it was black people who really cared about one another.
Mm,
I get that good feeling in my chest when I see people come outside and they cry. When I see people come outside and take that food or take those resources that's helping them from losing their house and they appreciative. And they have this look in their eye like, man, it's still black people out here who care about one another. All hope
mm,
is not lost. the youth is not all crazy and all bad, because it ain't like we young people out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Doing this work. So it's like it's almost like a adrenaline shot to the people, like a refresher, like it's a breath of fresh air to those people. And it gives me life that is able to give others life.
Mm,
Because I've seen dozens of people, and there's people like that in our organization who our first interaction with them was us knocking on their door, doing something for them.
mm,
And that turned into, hey man, I'm about to get out here and do this with y'all. I like that. I like what y'all doing. Y'all inspired me.
hmm.
And through my work, man, I've seen people come out their house. You know me, I'm on whether I'm on the bullhorn on the mic, I done made people come out their house. Man, I heard you in my kitchen, and I love what you talking about, brother.
Because you
So
don't sound like I don't feel preached to.
mhm,
I feel like it's almost like that's my voice. To somebody like somebody's a ventriloquist.
mm,
You feel like you taking what I feel inside, but I don't necessarily want to tell the world about, or I don't know how to tell the world about. And you saying exactly what the fuck I feel
right.
in a way that the average person can get and the smartest person can get.
Yep.
That's a gift, bro. Like that. And if don't nobody else tell you today, man, I'm proud of you.
Man, thank you. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
I'm big on that shit, bro. I tell everybody, man. Like our people need to hear that. Especially man to man, because niggas
Right.
don't want to tell another nigga, oh man, I'm proud of you, bro. I love you, bro. Like that shit's corny or whatever the fuck the word, the word is.
Right.
It's oh, I get tired of that shit. I tell people every day, literally, I love you.
Word.
You
As you
know,
should.
and that's one thing. Like with my daughters, like literally every day for probably at least 15 years, I text them, I love you. Because I always felt like no matter what, they need to know that their father loves them. Like
Mm.
that's an invaluable thing to a child.
Ooh.
And as adults, we
Mm.
still riding with it.
Yeah.
Every fucking morning at 7 o'clock.
Mm.
Same shit. And instead if I don't, I'm getting a call.
Yeah, I ain't got there yet. I only got one daughter. It's
Oh man. Yo, like dude, you got a beautiful journey ahead, bro.
man, thank you.
Oh my God, trust and believe. And slow it down as much as you can.
I'm trying to, man. I definitely am. I've
Yeah.
slowed down in recent years, man. Like I'm not trying to have no more children right now. Even though I would like another girl.
Really?
Oh yeah, I will. Because what it is, me and my queen, we don't have a girl together. My girl is from another relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So me and her got 3 boys together. So she wants a girl, and I want a girl for her. I love babies, man. I love children.
Shit.
I love my children.
You putting up Nick Cannon numbers, bro.
Word. Yeah.
I'm not mad at you though, man. If you got enough love to give it.
Well, and then my whole thing is, man, I think what people forget, man, is that what got us through slavery and segregation and civil rights was big families.
Yeah.
Okay. What got us through working cotton fields was big families. It was.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was it was what our grandmamas had. Eight,
Man.
eight, 8 kids, 12 kids,
Oh my
13
goodness.
kids, 14 kids.
Yeah.
Because they understood it wasn't about, meeting up in the back and getting busy. It was that we need more hands to help work this field.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a practical matter. Um, and my bad, man. If you do want to call up, it's 347-855-8692 and you press one. Um, I know that people's action is big on politics. The Democratic Party. Personally, I'm fed the fuck up. And people tell me, well, the alternative is we're gonna have Trump in office again. And I don't see a difference between him and Biden, to be quite honest. If anything, Biden is actually worse because he lies to us. Trump just doesn't give a shit. He tells you I don't give a shit.
Fair.
how can we fix the political system to work for black people? Is it sitting out a couple of elections?
Mm-mm.
Is
I
it
think
monetarily?
I think that black people, that we need to come together, that we need to choose who is best from amongst us,
Hmm.
and we need to go back to doing those things Malcolm was talking about in the '60s. Man, we need to vote in a solid block. We need to put our own candidates up, and we need to take over the local game. We need to do what the black folks did in South Africa. And if you ain't familiar with the situation in South Africa, the black folks done pretty much cornered the whole Congress by putting their own candidates, creating their own parties, and essentially creating a solid block. Then once you do that, it's like we need the leverage on the local level to then make moves. The city of Detroit was once a black city politically.
Man,
You know what I'm saying? However,
yes.
we've gotten away from it because the people that elected Coleman weren't they were young people.
Yeah.
They were young people who
Yeah.
became old people, and they grew up with him and they rode with him their whole life
Facts.
and kept him in there. What comes there in there? 10 years, 12 years? He was in there a little while. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that we as a people, we as a community have to come together, man, and decide who's the best person to work for our own interests, as opposed to settling for the lesser of two evils. Because that's, in a lot of ways, that's what we do. Is we
That's the
settle for the lesser of two evils versus actually taking organized action to get the work done, as well as the political organizers. Like, as a people, we don't have a political lobby, which we need.
facts.
There's no black lobby. There's no group of people that's working to secure our interests, which means we gotta do another thing. We gotta put money up to pay people to go and to sweat these political figures to get the things done that our interests want, our interests reflect. Or, like I said, put together our own lobby and our own lobbyists and just go to work, as well as we need to do the work that groups like People's Action are doing, which is doing the political work all year, not just canvassing during November, canvassing all year.
People don't want to do that shit, man.
They don't do
It's
that
too
shit.
much work.
It is.
We want the easy way out. We want to be spoon fed a candidate.
Yep.
You
We
know,
just
and,
want to pop up in November, watch the campaign commercials, and pick the person that we think we know.
and I interviewed the Wayne County Sheriff a couple of weeks ago,
Okay.
and everybody's got an opinion. There's some people that hate the man, and some people that absolutely love the man. What I found interesting and quite refreshing, he's not the first politician I've interviewed. That he didn't ask me for any questions up front.
Mm,
And I let him know like that was almost to the point where I thought that was a mistake initially in my
mm,
mind. I'm thinking politically I wouldn't have done this,
mm.
you know. But he didn't give a shit, and he literally said as much. Like, look, bro, I ain't got shit to hide. He
Right.
said that way, but he said it that way. Like if I had something to hide, yeah, I would have went that route. But I don't have nothing to hide, and I don't really care what you ask me.
Talking about James White, right? Not James
Donald
White.
Washington,
Down to Washington. Okay, yeah, my bad.
yeah.
That's the police chief. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, because I had saw him in a picture with Jewel Jones and student minister Troy Muhammad.
Word.
And I'm like, first off, like you're not gonna see too many politicians in a picture with those cats. That's speaking volumes. And I have the utmost respect for those brothers. And I'm not saying that in a negative way.
Yeah.
But they typically would shy away from the nation because they don't want to piss off the white folks.
Well, Detroit is a little different in the
It
sense
is.
that you this is a place where the police and as well as the city government has always been intertwined with the community leaders,
Yes.
the people on the local levels. And that's why we have as thick of a black police force as we have. That's why we have a black police chief, and we've had as many black mayors and black people, and that's why the city council is so black. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
because, and it's like that because of the relationship that those individuals have with community leaders. That's why we don't see a whole lot of police killing black folks here.
You don't. Like they'll beat your ass, but you'll go home.
And then if the police kill you here, it's usually because you would shoot at them too,
Yes.
which ain't out
Like
the ordinary. Okay.
yes.
Like the last brother that it was a whole thing with the police. Like brother had a pistol. He was about to shoot back. You know what I'm saying? So I think that because of the relationship that the people, the organizers, the community leaders in the city of Detroit have built with the police and a lot of these elected officials, it's not, I wouldn't say it's out the ordinary to see those type of relationships, if that makes sense.
Yes. And you know what, man? I think like and you don't, as a Detroiter, born and raised, I live in Cleveland now. I've been here for a couple of decades. But you don't really realize the greatness and the value of being from Detroit and being there until you leave Detroit. Detroit is
Right,
fucking Wakanda for the states.
right.
You know, and when I moved to Ohio, it's niggas here, man, that have never went to the west side.
Mm,
I'd never experienced that before.
right.
Like, say what you want about Detroit, people only see the negative, but they don't see Palmer Park. They don't see Sherwood Forest. They don't see Indian Village. They don't see the high rises downtown. They don't see all that shit because it's not beneficial to the powers that be to show that we got some rich ass black folks in
The
Detroit too.
Morningsides and the East English villages and the Outer Drive East and the Outer Drive West. You got a lot of black folks with paper, man.
And how the fuck is Outer Drive just sparkling no matter where you go, and the rest of the neighborhood may look like ass, but
Well,
Outer Drive
well,
is perfect?
because and a lot of people don't know this, but the Outer Drive community neighborhood block
Mhm.
clubs are some of the most active in the city.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they are. They're very active,
I did
especially
not know that.
especially like in different depending on where you at. Like the East English Village Block Club, very active. Rosedale Park, very active. It's a reason those people organize. They meet. You know what I mean? They will come together about issues within their community, and they make it to where it look a certain type of way. It ain't that
That's crazy.
Brightmore is a bad part of town and there's bad people over there. Those people are just not organized to work to make it better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, although I'm not driving through Brightmore at dark.
I agree. But what you'll
That's
see is
fucked up.
when you ride through there, there will be things over there that may surprise you. Like the amount of community gardens in Brightmore. It's
Really?
dozens of them. Yeah, it's dozens of them. I'm talking about big ones, not just little community gardens. There's a couple of them over there. And
Really?
yes, yes, it is.
I did
Yes,
not know that.
yes.
And what's the old boy? Is it Molly something? He's got a band, and he's big on the community gardening.
It's a bunch, man. Detroit, a lot of people don't know.
It's an older cat though. Like I've
The
been wanting.
city of
I can't
Detroit
remember his
has
name for shit.
more urban gardens than anywhere else in the country.
Really?
Yes. And you can quote me on that. The city of Detroit has more urban gardens than anywhere in the country.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think it's a lot of factors. I think that one of the biggest factors is the amount of food, the amount of food deserts that exist here,
Hmm.
as well as what a lot of people forget. The city of Detroit has always been a hotbed for consciousness.
Yeah.
It's always been a hotbed for knowledge. This is the home of Islam in North America for black
Yes.
people. It
Yes.
is. And a lot of people forget that. A lot of people forget the rich heritage and rich level of intellectuals that lived here and that still live here. You know what I mean? Like, this is the home of the automotive industry.
Yes.
So, in reality, this is the home of the black middle class.
Facts.
Okay. Which means that this is one of the first places where black people had the money to send their kids to college.
Man. And people don't realize that shit.
Nah, people don't realize that.
You know, like,
But when
and
you have a conversation with a lot of these people, especially a lot of our elders, a lot of the young people, you will see, oh, they very intelligent, very community minded, and want to make a difference and want to make a change. You know what I mean? Especially like now, like Southwest with the Hispanic community, it's a whole another bag of worms. It's a
which
whole
is
other
like
bag of worms.
my whole life, Southwest was another city.
It is. I feel like
Even though it's Detroit, it was not, it was, we don't go over there, they don't come over here.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only reason I even thought about Southwest was when Jalen Rose got to Michigan, and I learned that that nigga went to Southwestern.
Right.
That was it. My mama had a friend that stayed over there. We went over there like twice,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's changed much.
It hasn't. But however, in my opinion, that's to our detriment. Like the Hispanic community, in my opinion, is one of the most organized and tight knit communities in the country, and that's all across the board. That's New York, that's Houston, that's Detroit, that's Chicago, that's all across the board. So I think
But
that
are they really allies? Like from
well,
my experience, and I can only speak from my experience. They don't.
fair point.
They are. It's black and brown when it's beneficial,
Right.
but
Well,
try to marry one.
what I think is the problem is, and I tell people this about a lot of cultures, they dumb, deaf, and blind, just like us, man.
Okay.
They lack the knowledge of themselves too. They don't know who they are. They know. You'd be surprised at how many of them. And this is a conversation that I have a lot. And
Hmm.
the younger Hispanic community knows because they starting to reach out into the information and make that connection. But a lot of them haven't made the connection that we the same people, simply because they've been miseducated just as much as we have. Just as much as
Hmm.
we have. They don't make the connection that like I've had to tell Hispanics, yo, my man, you not Spanish. Why you think you speak Spanish? Did you forget that y'all was colonized and taken over by the conquistadors when they robbed and raped and pillaged your people and gave you their language? And they'll be taken aback, like, oh, yeah. So
Hmm.
when you make that connection, like, yo, bro, we went through the same thing. Only difference between y'all and us is y'all didn't get made slaves because y'all was from a place that had an army and went to war. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, y'all still have been subjected to cultural domination, to being stripped
Hmm.
of your culture, to your original tradition and your history. It's the young Puerto Ricans who now saying that they not Puerto Ricans, but they Tainos. It's the young Mexican who now saying I'm not Mexican, but I'm from the such and such tribe or this and this tribe. Or I'm from the Arawak Indians or this and such tribe. So I think as we build this bridge
Hmm.
of these people from we from the same place. We all, come from the same root. I just think that the misconnection is purely intellectual. It's purely cultural. And those of us that's in the know, if we can make this bridge happen, like how it's happened in New York, for example. Because ain't no disconnect between the Hispanic community and the Black community in New York. A little bit, but they intertwined.
But see, I feel some type of way hearing like Fat Joe say nigga.
Well, the only reason you feel some type of way because you may not know how intertwined the Hispanic and Black community is until you
Right.
go to the
But that don't,
Bronx.
and that's the problem. They
Right.
feel like that gives them a pass nationwide, and it doesn't.
Well, and I think the only difference between here and New York is that New York has had several points of intellectual renaissance where people made it clear and the connection was made that we the same. We really one people. We not different. We got the same experiences. Just
That's a
like we
hard
was
sell, bro.
just like we was enslaved and our culture taken, they had it too. You know what I'm saying? So just like the European came in Africa and did what they did, the European came over here and did what they did.
That's kind of like the people across the street. They father beating them up, and our father is beating us up. But our situations is the same, but they different because I don't know your old man. I'm not seeing him whoop your ass. I know
Well,
what I'm getting over here.
the old saying is of a enemy of my enemy is a friend of mine. Like we up against the same thing.
And see, that's tough. Like especially like I'm an old guy,
Yeah, yeah.
so and I salute the sometimes the younger generation for being inclusive, but like I remember, and I don't remember the exact quote with Ali, but when he was doing that interview and he was talking about the snakes and how like a couple of the snakes is good snakes, but it's 5,000 snakes. Do I waste my time trying to figure out which snakes are the good snakes, or do I
Right.
just close the door and not let any of them in?
Well, me personally, my perspective on that would be focus on the youth. If you focus on the youth, then you could change the future.
I had a Panamanian guy actually, literally today. We was going back and forth on IG, and I'm like, dude, like, what, like, because he kept saying we,
Mm,
and I seen a flag. I knew he was Hispanic.
yeah.
I didn't know where he was from, but I seen a flag. I had to be petty. I went through his profile. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I see it. How is this nigga saying we? And I
Yeah.
asked him, I'm like, respectfully, but why you keep saying that we shit? Well, you don't know Panamanians are black too, bro.
What
I'm like,
it,
what?
what the thing is, and I would agree with him in the sense that all of these names that we've been given have been given to us by the same oppressor, in my opinion.
True,
They have.
true. Yeah,
It wasn't the so-called people of Panama. They didn't name that Panama. They even Spanish is not an indigenous language to Mexico, to the islands, to South America. None of that. That is a European language.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah.
This is the product of the Spanish conquistadors who came to South America, who killed, who raped, who pillaged, who robbed, who renamed and enslaved the people. So just to the point that we gonna went through the same things, some of the same things culturally. So once we make that bridge and see, when we know biologically they come from where we come from, they just a gene pool, one or two gene pools over. But we share some same phenotypes. We share some same genetic material. We do. We
I
got
may
some.
have, may
Yeah.
have to. I'm gonna try.
Well, the thing is, in America, there's approximately 17 million black people, or so-called Africans, people from the diaspora.
Mhm.
However, there's also approximately 103 million Europeans. So, do we really have the room to say we don't need allies of people that's faced with the same plight?
So you think foundational Black America and that movement is wrong?
I don't think it's wrong. I just think that we need all the help we can get. Just like I'm a big advocate of striving to build the connection with the Native American community. Because again, we facing the same plight. The same way we was taken of our land and robbed and raped and pillaged and went to war, they went through the same thing. So
Yeah,
again, it's like, at what point as a community do we connect with the other communities and other people's faced with the same plight as we face with, to say, hey, how can we work together? Make
man. And
this
from a
change.
financial aspect, that would make way more sense too, because they got land that they get to govern.
Yep. They got land and they got a little bit of money, but they have so few people.
They got a lot of money.
But they culture dying out.
Yeah,
But if you ever been to one of them reservations, bro, it ain't fun.
I've never been.
Listen, a lot of them reservations have put the worst ghettos you've been to shame. Okay,
Really?
yes, a lot of them reservations, homie, are not the goddamn Cedar Point. Okay, it's
Like
rough.
they and outside looking in, since they it seems that the majority of the tribes have gotten casinos. I thought they was making a shitload of money. Where's it going?
Well, what you got to understand, bro, is that those casinos represent 1 to 2% of the Native American community. That you had, just like among all communities, man, you got a
Mhm.
select few of people who gonna go
Make that
go
money.
go to the next level and make money. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, I'm just saying that that level of wealth doesn't
Mhm.
reflect the entire people. That's just like saying, yo, you got all these rappers and basketball players that's millionaires, black people should be straight. But that ain't really the case. You have a few very wealthy Native American families, the same way
Mhm.
we have a few very wealthy black families, but still, as a whole, by majority, are still
Yeah.
very poor people and community.
Yeah.
But now,
Although
if you bring all these poor people together,
we doing something.
we doing something. We
If we
doing,
bring all our rich people together and they were
we
actually
doing
focused
something.
on doing something.
Yeah, you doing something.
And I don't mean like you don't have to give up all your bread. But if there was like you said, as far as getting lobbyists, like we
Mhm.
got several billionaires. We got the bread if we really wanted to, but they okay with the status quo because they like that
Yeah.
money.
Yep.
And I can't knock you for liking money. I'm just one of those people. I don't need 50 bedrooms.
Right.
I can only sleep in one bed at a time.
Tell you.
You know, it would be nice to have 100 cars, but let's be realistic. Like, I don't need 100 cars.
I mean, for me, I'm not really in a chase for money. I'd be happy with my name being great.
I would like to bag a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It's certain
I'd
shit.
take a little bag. I'd take
Yeah,
a little bag. Absolutely. Who
yeah.
wouldn't? Who
Like
wouldn't?
I would love to have a fresh pair of tens for every day of the year.
No question. It's just for me, it means a lot more to me for my name and my work to transcend my money. Like I'm with you. I'm not really, I think money is necessary for a standard of living that we all want.
Yes,
However, man, I mean, I think that I want to be one of those people that transcend time and space.
I do too.
And the only way to do that, man, is to do something that money can't do.
I want to be. I always been saying this for decades. I want to be in a fucking museum. Like I
Word.
want my dead ass to
That's
be.
right. Now you
You
talking.
know, pose me, nigga.
Hmm.
Like this is Jobs. He created such and such and such and such back in 2017.
Yeah, that's why even when we was kind of talking about that earlier, like with Malcolm. Yeah, he died broke, but man, his clothes is on display.
I take offense to that though.
Well,
Like
it's
I think that
those same
people like we it's not me personally, but a lot of us has used his likeness and didn't send one fucking nickel to his family. Send a nickel.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I mean, when you study him, you know that the message is still able to get out. His
Man,
teachings,
man, man.
the word, man. I mean, I listen to Malcolm right now. It's a speech on YouTube that I listen to a lot. Malcolm X in the King James version of the Bible. He was still in the Nation of Islam. Yo, his word, man. So that's why I can understand that. Okay, the glorification that this was his book, these were his notes, and for a person like me who study his life, you get to kind of
Mhm.
get a look and a picture into how he was dealing with stuff.
Yeah,
Like I
you
done seen his notebooks. I've seen
really.
copies of books that he had. Yeah, they in the museums. And you know what they had in them? On every page, the page, you know how you have when you read a book, how you have space at the top and space on
Yeah,
the side?
yeah.
It's all filled with notes. Highlights, circles, underlines, exclamation points. I mean, you could just tell that he was such a scholar that he would break it all down. They used to say, I've heard stories about Malcolm sleeping in the library, man. You know what I mean? So but if it wasn't for those things in the glass case, I wouldn't have been able to get that picture.
Yo, you know who's got a
So
really fucking brilliant collection of slave letters? Chris Webber.
I've heard that.
Yo, he had them, and this had to be probably 10 to 15 years ago.
I heard that.
But at the African American Museum in Detroit,
Yeah.
he had them on display. And bruh, like I've ever since the whole Ed Davis, I think it's Ed Davis, the shit that went down with him at Michigan, I've never been the biggest Chris Webber fan. I took Jalen Rose side, let's say it that way, until I saw this collection of slave letters, and I understood Chris Webber so much more at that point.
Wow.
Like Jalen has always been, nigga, I'm from Detroit. I got it out the mud. I'm going to pull my niggas up out the mud.
Word.
And Chris Webber has always been, well, I don't think he knew who he was for a long time.
Mm,
And when he found himself, he was more, I want to pass on the intellectual property. And Jalen was, I want you to build that intellectual property. Those were the two differences.
word.
But man, I swear, man, I took two of my daughters and it was two things. We got on the slave ship. They've got a slave ship, the replica that they built in one of their exhibits. And when you get in there, it's got the sounds of the slaves. The whole room is like you can hear people
Yeah.
screaming and crying. Oh my God. And that was the first time that my daughters I saw my daughters care.
Mm,
Not just care about anything, but care about the plight of their people.
word. Yes, it was
And
real enlightening.
oh my
Something.
God, man. That shit was, but seeing those slave letters, bro, like that shit almost brought me to tears.
Yeah, it's real. It's real tough, man. I was. It was something because I found out about that because I was doing research into slave letters and different things like that. Because it's a whole little movement of people now that's trying to say slavery never happened.
Oh my
That
God.
try to come with the point that black people always been here and that we didn't come on boats. And I hear it to a degree. I think there has been always been a black presence in America, but it's research and it's proofs like that and the actual documents of those people who lived as slaves to show forth and prove that this happened.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's really important to have that, man, and to make that connection.
They said Mansa Musa father, they believe he came here before Columbus.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know.
Uh,
Mansa Musa gets all the props for being super rich, but he didn't earn that money. Pops
no, he
did.
didn't earn that, and it's a lot of history on that. Ivan Van Sertima's book, "They Came Before Columbus," is a good one, where he go through a lot of the research showing how there were other examples of people, especially the people of Kemet who came over
Hmm.
very early on. You know what I'm saying? How you got that's how they what it is. One example that he gave is how they found cocaine as traces from cocaine in the sarcophaguses of certain pharaohs. But we know cocaine only grows in in South America. It
Really?
doesn't, it doesn't grow in Kemet.
They was getting down like that, huh?
Well, you have to understand, man, that these things have always been that there's many medicinal
Yeah.
properties to the poppy leaf and the cocaine and these plants that they wasn't using it how we were. However, even though it's a drug, it's also a painkiller. It's also,
Absolutely.
an anesthetic. So it's just and when you understand when you see that, it's like, okay, wow. So how did that get over there if they wasn't?
That's crazy though. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of he dealt into a lot of research with the Olmec and the connection in chemistry. So it's a great book into that insight.
Oh man. It's Dr. Rashidi. I had a
Oh,
chance
Dr.
to,
Rashidi, man, that's my man.
yeah.
I had
Had
to
to
see
had
meet him.
had the honor to interview him before.
Wow, that's dope, man.
Yeah. Oh, bruh.
Oh, I
Like,
like to see that interview.
yo, man. I'm gonna keep it a buck. And I've talked to one of my daughters. Me and my middle daughter are the ones to kind of talk about the show and my legacy type of things.
Mm,
And I told her like people not really gonna catch on to the shit that I've done and accomplished until I'm dead.
mm,
So I want her to be in control of everything so that my lineage can benefit.
word.
You know, cause yo, bro, I've had like Jesus Christ, Rizza Islam, Dr. Rashidi, Professor Small, like just
Mm,
had some Chuck D. Although man, that was not one of my finer interviews.
word.
Oh yeah, they called me like last minute, and like with Chuck D, you like got to be ready,
Yeah, I can imagine.
and I was not ready.
Mm,
You know, like I know Public Enemy, but I like to at least have a good week to look people up and kind of live with their story.
word, word,
You know, like even with you,
word,
you know,
word,
like I saw a lot of shit, man, that I had not seen before,
word.
and I'm working out and watching some of your speeches. How come you stopped doing like the 1 minute segments, the 2 minute segments on YouTube?
I mean, man, I wouldn't. I don't know, man. It's like it'd be so tough, and I think I need to keep giving it energy. But like when I was doing a lot of stuff, man, I wasn't working. I was kind of working from home. I kind of had made up in my mind that I just took some time, like y'all might just go all in on the speaking. And I was putting so much out, man, and it just kind of got to a point where I just felt like maybe I was doing so much of it and it wasn't giving me the return that I needed as
Mhm.
right away. So it's like I had to get back into work and getting
It's
back
tough.
in the work field, and it's kind of took me out of that rhythm of making content, of speaking. And then don't get me wrong, I'm still working to be able to book and to do
Hmm.
speaking events and speak in certain places. You know, one thing I've been working on, man, is kind of trying to work to build myself almost a team
Hmm.
of people that kind of see what I see and that
Hmm.
want to go the same place that I want to go and want to help me get there, and then just kind of come together to make the content that I need, man. But I definitely still making it. I still, you know, put a lot of stuff on paper. I just got to turn the camera back on, man, and just get busy.
I wish you would, bro.
Yeah,
Shits
word,
was it. If you can inspire an old fart like myself, bro.
word, man. I
Like,
appreciate it.
yeah, because you know, like some of those I just needed, you
Yeah,
know.
and a lot of it, man, is like I was experimenting,
Hmm.
like because you know, and we talked about this a little earlier. I've been really working to kind of find the lane for myself of how am I gonna break into really giving more. I want to say to a different audience, but really taking what I'm doing to another level,
Right.
where I can have a not only a broader reach but a greater impact.
Hmm.
And a lot of it, man, I really had to go back to the lab and like study. Like, okay, if I'm gonna say that I'm gonna step out of where I'm used to and say that, yo, I just want to talk to companies and organizations about
Hmm.
how they can do this, then all right, I gotta reevaluate how I'm talking, because I can't come with the same energy that I come to somebody who's just sleep out in the hood in the grave to a white collar corporation. I can't come in there yelling and you know what I'm saying, going hard and you know, community this and community that. So it's just been I've been going through a mode where I've been working to kind of go
Refine it.
right. That's what I was just about to say. Going from a microscope to a laser almost, man. Trying to
Facts.
really okay,
I
how can
got you.
I take what I have and really put it in a position where it can take me to where I want to go. So
I want
yeah,
to help you, bro. I'm
word,
gonna
word,
so like I want to be part of that team, and I'm
word.
dead
Hell,
ass. You let me know what it is I can do, and I'm gonna call like my cousin Dion, phenomenal, and
word,
she is like been doing the diversity thing for the government for years. I'm gonna call her
word.
and see how you know if that will be helpful
Man, that
at
would be
all.
very helpful. That would be very helpful because a lot of one of my biggest issues, man, is that you know you have so much you when you do a lot of the community work and Vu's another individual that's been helping me with this is just trying to translate that into a corporate program.
I
Going
think what I and I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Go
what I
ahead.
have seen is brothers and sisters that are that are in the community that are quote unquote conscious have a really difficult time asking people to do shit,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's to their detriment.
As well as asking for money.
Yes, and I have
Like
no problem with that shit, bro.
and then and this is what I realized, you know, working and speaking with some of those people that's in the upper echelon of doing this work, like Eric Thomas, for example,
Hmm.
one of the most influential black men in the world right now. Like, I mean, ET can he one of them individuals that I agree. Homie can make the lame walk. He's one of them people that can motivate a blind duck to get up and fly, bro. You know what I'm saying? But to that same point, as powerful and as much value that he brings, gee, it ain't cheap to book ET for an hour. Get your
Yo,
checkbook ready.
I emailed them. They sent me back the ticket,
Get your checkbook ready. It
bruh.
ain't. It ain't. Listen, get your checkbook together, bro. Okay. This what I learned from them. That
They must have smelled broke on me because they declined me before.
oh,
It was like, it's okay, bro, but we're gonna have to pass.
bro, get your checkbook ready. Okay. Get the checkbook ready. But what they showed me was you can't you can't expect if you want this value, if you want this level, it's a cost. It's a value. It's a yeah, fair exchange ain't no robbery. And it just opened my mind up to where I said, whoa, wait a minute. I've been giving up all of this value and I ain't been asking for what I'm worth. what's really, and then it really hit me. Wait a minute, I'm not in the right room. I can't I can't ask the poor people in the community whom I'm giving my all to give me what I'm worth.
But you can turn that into the right room.
And that's kind of what I have done. Like, okay, where is the room where people will give me the value and I still could still doing the community work. I ain't never gonna stop that. I got 4 students right now. I'm still in the street, still on the street corners in my spare time talking to the young black men.
But
I
what I
still
mean is, let's say those same brothers and sisters, say you got 50 brothers and sisters on the street corner.
yeah.
Well, you take those same ones and put them in a really small auditorium where it looks like that auditorium is packed. You give them the same work, the visual is different.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
And
now,
that's man,
now you got people saying, you know what?
yeah,
I want to pay him to do that.
right. And that's kind of what I've been working on.
Mhm,
And not only from the because on with the young people side, we working to go into that violence prevention,
mhm,
youth retention, and really working that lane. Because for what I had to understand was, and this was something that Vu helped me see, how the work that we're doing translates in different worlds.
mm.
And then I said, okay, this how so we got to I've been working to translate. All right, in the corporate world, the work that we doing translates to cultural humility, cultural competence, equity and inclusion.
Mm.
Then the wheels clicked, and I said, "Wait a minute, okay. So these the other rooms that I need to be in outside of just in the community that can get me the value that I'm looking for and do the work at the same time."
That's what it's about.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that, bro.
word.
And I see it. I see it for you. And I believe in you, bro.
Man, thank you,
No
thank you.
doubt. I ain't gonna take up too much of your time. I ain't realize it's 8:30 and shit. Damn.
Yeah. That mean the
Yo,
convo was good though, bro. That's all that is.
absolutely.
Word.
If somebody does want to book you, they want to get in contact with you, how they do that?
Man, they go to ministerfreedom.com. Ministerfreedom.com. You can put your info right on the website, man. It'll send an email straight to me, or you can just you want to just straight directly email me. My email is on the website too. You can reach me out mfa at ministerfreedom.com. Yeah, man, just email. The website, pretty much the website is the go-to, man. Ministerfreedom.com. Or if
Yo,
any streaming platform, any Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, you can message me on there, man. And we could work.
and I forgot to tell y'all, man, we are sponsored by M3S3 Clothing. Men make moves and suckers stand still. You already know how I
Word.
do. Oh, and if you want one of these My Skin is My Sin t-shirts, all you gotta do is go subscribe to the Intellectually Petty Radio YouTube channel and cash at me $3 for the shipping and handling to $Jobstown JOBSTOWN. Shout out to Helen Black. I appreciate that. Yes, I agree. We need those 1 minute clips. They motivated her in many ways.
Word.
Yes, bro. We need like and when you do interviews, you don't even have to do the clips, bro. You got so many gems in this interview.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
take whatever the fuck you want to take.
No doubt, man. I appreciate it.
Like you do interviews, you cut the interviews up.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I do.
And that
I
way
do.
you ain't got to worry about, you ain't got to sit at home and be like, okay, is the camera right? Because I hate doing that shit sometimes. Like it's just, I'm that's why I'm good at talking to people, but I suck at the rest of this shit,
Oh, man, who you telling? Who you
man.
telling? I'm right there with
Anyway, yeah, Helen Black, do me a favor, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want a shirt, bro, let me know. I got you.
you. Oh, man, I would love one. I was just about to tell you, man. I'm gonna get that cash app over to you real quick.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'll be at the crib this weekend.
Word.
Just hit me up with a size.
I got you.
I got a couple boxes of them, so just let
Word.
me know.
Yeah, hell
I
yeah,
bring a few of them to the crib.
man, definitely, bro.
All right, no doubt, man.
Appreciate
On that note, man, I appreciate you so much, man.
appreciate you, bro.
Thank you to your family for loaning you to us for a little bit.
Oh, man,
And oh man, and shout out to Vu, and I'll holler at you. Hey
word.
yo, and I'm definitely gonna call my people too.
Yeah, man. Call him and hit me up, man. Let's keep the work going.
I got you, no doubt,
All right,
man. On that note, man, we out. Have a
all right,
good
my
one.
brother. Peace, man. Thank you, bro.
Peace. Oh man, it was a pleasure. Thank you. And again, if you want to get one of these shirts, My skin is my sin. Bam, bam, bam. All right. Yeah, you just send $3 to $ Jobstown. I will need your size and the address. You can put that in the Cash App. Or you can email me at jobstown12345 @Yahoo tell me the same shit. Anyway, on that note, man, it was an honor and a privilege to have Minister Freedom on tonight. Y'all have a good